Hello, I'm Om Puri. As you know, you're watching BollywoodHungama.com. Enjoy.
It's a huge honor to have one of the finest actors in Indian cinema ever, Mr. Om Puri, with us. It's a huge pleasure to have you back on BollywoodHungama, first of all.
Thank you very much.
Your movie is coming up, Jai Ho Democracy, for which the promo is going to be launched today. From the promo that we gathered, I think you're having a good time while your colleagues, they're fighting amongst themselves. So how was your experience of just being there and just noticing them having the fight?
Very nice. I mean, we have seen in our real assemblies in parliament, a lot of times the real politicians also have a good time. So similarly, we have a good time in the film.
Right.
It's a film with a difference. It's not arty film. I wouldn't call it a commercial film, but I would call it a mainstream film.
Right.
You know, it's not art film. It is not a boring film. It is not a preaching film.
Right.
And half of the film is full of laughter and fun.
Right.
But the second half, it turns out very, very serious and very moving and very touching. And one thing which comes out of the film is that there is no problem which cannot be solved in a human manner, in a civilized manner.
Absolutely.
That's what we learned from the film.
Right. So when I saw the promo, you have this this sound which is coming like comedy on the lines of kabaddi kabaddi, I believe, which is I think something very innovative. And Ranjit Kapoor is the same guy who wrote Jaane Bhi Do Yaaron, where I think you played your iconic character.
Yes.
Which I think many would say that you just people will I think always remember that particular character. So something about this aspect of presentation of comedy per se.
Yeah, it is a satire. It is a exaggerated version of reality.
Right.
We have seen, India has seen their politicians behaving in a certain manner, not always, but there have been incidents where they had fights, they have thrown chairs at each other, they have pulled out the mics and thrown at each other.
Right.
And in Delhi recently, in the parliament, somebody threw chili powder.
Right.
On the other person, etc. In Lucknow, we know that there was a chaos in the assembly. In
Right.
Bangalore, police had to be called in. So, and plus generally, we have seen that politicians don't listen. They have their own point of view, fine. But they must argue in a very civilized manner.
Right.
Let one person finish talking, then the second person should talk. Speaker keeps shouting, please, one by one, let him finish, but nobody listens.
Right.
I have seen on the television, the British Parliament, not one person utters a word when one person is talking.
That's
Nobody interrupts. When that person finishes, then the second person raises his hand and then he speaks. So we know what they are talking about. When we watch it on television, we don't know what is happening.
Right.
We don't know what they are discussing. Similarly, in this film, you will see that you know, from the main problem, what they are supposed to be discussing, how they keep deviating.
Absolutely. And there's a comment on parliamentary language and unparliamentary language, the way I think Satish Kaushik uses as expletive, and how Anu Kapoor reacts to it.
And also there are some, you know, like for example, when the word Southern is said, everybody gets up.
Right.
Every time word Southern comes, everybody. So it's very funny in the film, which suggests that we do lip service. You know, just by hanging Mahatma Gandhi's picture on the wall,
Right.
does not give credibility to what his beliefs were. We must follow his beliefs, not hang his picture and forget about it.
Right. Don't you think that the movie is coming at a certain juncture when many people are having certain questions about the way democracy is functioning in India in today's times? There are a lot of like questions keep on coming up, and people are just asking that are we really living in a democracy because too many bans are happening almost every other day, and there are a lot of protests which are happening, which is something which we've not seen in the past. Churches are being attacked and a lot of other things. Mother Teresa is being called that the way she is being addressed, that she was instrumental in conversion and all these things. So Samir, do you feel that there's a question mark on India as far as its democracy is concerned, the way the Constitution fathers had seen it?
Let me not be only negative about it. We are the largest democracy in the world.
Right.
And it is been working quite fairly well. All these incidents which you have mentioned, they are not large, like for example, it's not the Christians are being attacked every day. I mean, even one incident is bad, I believe that.
But it's quite happening regularly.
But it is not like a riot that, all over India Christians are being attacked. One incident in years. It is sad. It shouldn't happen.
So quite a few incidents have been in the last few months. Like
it shouldn't happen.
A nun has been raped. A
72-year-old nun
has been raped in West Bengal. Yes.
It is sad. We need to correct a lot of things in our democracy. That is true. But everything is not bad. If it was so, then we wouldn't have been developed.
Right.
Today, our rupee has a value, and we've been able to control the inflation, which a lot of big countries like America and England, they couldn't control inflation.
So even in terms of democracy, as far as the Indian films are concerned, there are too many restrictions that are being just imposed right now, be it the censor board, the way it is functioning, and a lot of efforts are taking place right now to just correct all those things. The way certain words are being muted, even I saw a few words muted in the promo of Jai Ho Democracy as well. So Samir, do you feel that it's a bit of a violation of democracy, because somewhere ideally the censor board should be just rating?
No, I don't believe it is a violation of democracy.
Right.
And
freedom of expression.
No. I mean, what is the freedom of expression? Nobody is stopping you to criticize anybody, but calling dirty names, it has become fashionable. It is ridiculous. The children are watching the film, and even if children are not watching the film, how does it make a difference? If you abuse, does it become more effective? If I'm arguing with you, if I use a gali and stress my opinion, I can raise my voice and put my opinion forward, not necessarily by abusing it. So if certain words are being banned, it is absolutely correct. It should be banned.
So you are in favor of the 26 words that have been banned by Palaj Nalani?
That's right, yes.
You favor that?
Yeah. Okay. MC, BC should be absolutely out.
So you worked in Hollywood films, you worked in British films, and in the context they use a lot of language which is uncharacteristic as well, but somehow everything is passed over there, and people say it but in the context it looks absolutely fine somewhere. So since considering you've worked over there as well, so don't you think that it's a bit of a paradox?
You think every second film do they have abuses? I have seen dozens of films. I haven't heard. Maybe occasional they say F word, but it's not that all their films have these F words. And it is a recent phenomena in our films. I'd say 5 saal pehle, 7 saal pehle, we didn't have. So we were not making good films earlier. We were making decent films. If we look at our 60s or 70s of cinema, where were the galis? And we gave super hits. 25 weeks, 50 weeks, a film is running.
Right.
Today only it runs for a week, even the big films. 1 week, 2 weeks. When I was growing up, I was in college, 25 weeks, 50 weeks, Silver Jubilee, Golden Jubilee.
Right, sir. The way all these disclaimers come during the movie, that smoking kills and alcohol and all these things. So don't you feel that in a way it's a violation of creativity as well, and it's a bit strange. We don't see that anywhere else in the world somehow.
Yeah, that I find. For example, if you are playing an addict, if that is the kind of a character you are playing, and you smoke hashish, etc. So without showing that, how are you going to show the character that this is the kind of character? But not as a fashion, not for an actor as an activity, because he must have some business.
Right.
Today, for example, abroad, though of course it is there, but even within India, you can't smoke in the offices. You have to go out to smoke. Even if you are at 7th floor, you have to come down to the ground floor, and in the open you smoke, and then you go back to your office.
How do you look back at Jaane Bhi Yaro and the sort of, I think, iconic character that you played over there? That Hanuman scene, I think people still remember with the sunglasses that you had worn in that. So how do you look back at Jaane Bhi Yaro, sir?
I think it's a remarkable film. It's a iconic film. It's a landmark in Hindi cinema.
Right.
And it's a wonderful satire.
Right.
And along with the comedy, which is a very good humor, you are able to give a social message.
So do you find that relevant in today's times as well?
What?
Jaane Bhi Yaro, do you find it relevant in today's times as well?
Of course, you do find relevant.
Right.
There is corruption. There is corruption, and it is much less, let me say. The kind of, we have, like for example, in the film, we picked on the builders.
Right.
You know, I mean, in the past, we remember how bridges were falling.
Right.
Flyovers were falling. And now your metro is running, for example. It's running perfectly well. So there is a lot of awareness. There is the level of corruption have reduced in certain fields.
Right. Okay, and so the way you balanced out working both in commercial as well as art cinema, the way it is called art cinema, parallel cinema in a certain manner, and television. That is something that you've done since the beginning of your career. I still remember, I think you played manager of Jimmy in Disco Dancer, and you've always had. You've also, I think, worked in South cinema, and there was a particular, I think, film in Kannada in 1999, which I think became a huge hit as well.
AK-47.
AK-47, right. So something about this aspect, that the way you balanced out both, and you had your share of Hollywood films as well as what you did in UK and in terms of East is East and the other movies that you've done over there. So how did you balance out this entire aspect, sir?
Well, right from the beginning, my first love, of course, is films with a social message.
Right.
That's my first love.
Right.
That's how I started.
Right.
And it gave me a status, it gave me a credibility as an actor,
right.
And it gave me a respect. And forced the commercial cinema to notice, to take notice. So I have been playing different characters in commercial films. Art cinema, first 10, 12 years I did only that. But there was not enough money that I could look after myself in a decent manner.
Right.
So therefore, I started doing commercial films as well. So I am grateful to both cinemas, commercial cinema as well as art cinema. But commercial cinema gave me a decent life.
Right.
I could afford to buy a house, I could afford to buy a car, I could afford to secure my family for the future, etc.
Right.
And my attitude have been, wherever good work is, even if it is small, I would go and grab it. Be it commercial cinema, be it British films. In British film, for 6-7 years, I did a lot of work.
Right.
I mean, every year I was there at least 4 months in a year.
Right.
And in fact, the Queen
felicitated you, right?
By honoring me with the OBE.
Right.
I was quite surprised.
Right.
Being a non-Britisher. Anyway, I was not shy away from doing television.
Right.
But not the kind of television which is going on today. I'm very proud of the work which I did on television in the past.
Right.
Whether it is Tamas, whether it is Bharat-e-Khoj, whether it is Gulzar Sahab's 13 short stories,
right.
Whether there was a political satire called Kakka Ji Kahin,
right.
Mr. Yogi with Ketan Mehta,
Mr. Yogi, right.
Yatra with Shyam Benegal,
right.
Rag Darwari. All this work is of a standard.
Right.
You know, Nothing is sort of careless or irresponsible, etc. So, or radio. I'm not shy away from any medium, as long as it is sensible.
Nasir Saab in his autobiography, he has said some wonderful things about you, and he's spoken about your discipline as well, the discipline with which you pursued your art and your acting and all these things. He's also mentioned about the fact that there was never any jealousy between you guys, and you were very supportive of each other, and there was a lot of camaraderie happening between at least you and Nasir Saab somewhere. So how much have you learned from your contemporaries, especially of 70s, be it Nasiruddin Shah, be it Farooq Sheikh, and a lot of other people who were working at that time, and the sort of cinema movement that you guys had started in 70s, especially rallied by Shyam Benegal Saab in many ways, and a lot of other directors at that point of time. So how do you look at that competition and how it benefited you guys?
See, there is no question of competition, because it's not a wrestling match to work with the other actor.
Right.
You are playing your character, I'm playing my character. How well you do, if you're doing very well, it improves my performance as well, and you complement each other. Because if you will perform well, then I'll be able to react better, because acting is not only acting but also reacting.
Absolutely.
So there is no question of "Arey yaar uda diya, arey yaar usko kha gaya." These are all very vague kind of terms.
Right.
And we've always, Nasir, me, with a lot of other people also, appreciating each other's work, sometimes also being critical about each other's statement, but it has not made any difference in our relationship.
In fact, Nasir Saab recently, in a lighter vein, he said about your recent film Dirty Politics, that Puri, he was lucky that he had some intimate scenes with Mallika Sherawat. I could not be that lucky. Mm-hmm. So how do you react to that?
Well, Nasiruddin Shah had been very lucky in drama school.
Right.
So he should not envy me.
Lucky in what manner, sir?
In the same manner as you are mentioning.
Okay.
You know, in terms of women.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So he was very, very lucky.
Right.
I was very unlucky. So he shouldn't crib about it.
He should not crib. What next can we be seeing from you apart from Jai Ho Democracy?
See, there are 2-3 films ready. One is Ram Bhajan Jindabad, which
right,
again is a political satire.
Right, sir.
But it doesn't have stars, and it's quite a funny film and based on real incidents, but it's been ready and it's not being bought. It's right, sad. And there's one comedy, which is a pure comedy. There's no social message or anything like that. Ho Gaya Dimag Ka Dahi. That right, is the title, which is just fun, harmless fun, decent humor.
Right.
That will be releasing soon.
And your Hollywood venture, you had been abroad, I think, a few days back as well.
Well, one film which was recently released was 100-Foot Journey,
right,
which has done very well
extremely
on the box office abroad,
right,
in America and in England, everywhere.
In fact, I spoke to Mr. Martin Sheen in New York recently. When I asked him about Indian films, and that was one performance that he singled out, that he loved that performance of yours.
Right. I loved him in Gandhi.
Right.
Though it was a small part, but he was brilliant. Absolutely
right,
brilliant.
Right. And you're saying something about your Hollywood venture that you were shooting for recently, sir?
No, that's what I said. The 100-Foot Journey, which was released, that was the last film which I did, which was shot in south of France.
Anything else that you're doing in terms of your
Hollywood? At the moment, there is nothing.
And any television happenings? Any television that you'd like to do?
Television, as I told you earlier, the kind of work I have done, I would like to do that kind of work. I have nothing against television. There are a couple of people who approached me. There is something called Crime Control.
Right.
They wanted me to anchor that, and I told them, yes, it makes sense that how you could have avoided a crime. That's what it's about, crime control.
Right.
By taking precautions. So that concept makes sense to me.
finally, something about your support cast in Jai Ho Democracy, be it Anu Kapoor, Adil, I think he's a very fine actor. Satish Kaushik looks very good. Seema Biswas is a fantastic actress. Something about the experience of working with these people, sir.
Well, it's a fantastic team. Wonderful actors, you know. Seema Biswas, we've seen her in Bandit Queen.
Right.
I mean, it was a performance of an international standard.
Absolutely.
Anu Kapoor, we all know that how versatile actor he is. And Adil Rana, I have not seen much of his work, but he does a lot of theatre.
Right.
And in one serial we were together, which was about the AIDS awareness, called Jasoos Vijay,
Right.
in which he was the main star and I was anchoring that show.
Right.
In that he played, every time he was playing a different character. So he also is a wonderful, wonderful actor. Everybody else also, Satish Kaushik, of course, he has a very good sense of humor.
Right.
And he's also brilliant in the film.
Fantastic.
And we all are friends. So it was fun working together.
Great. So thank you very much, sir, for being on BollywoodHungama, and lovely talking to you. And it's a huge honor to talk to you. And looking forward to Jai Ho Democracy and all your future ventures, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Jai Ho. Jai Ho.
Thank you, sir. That's all we're from BollywoodHungama. Keep on watching. Hi, this is Faridun Shahryar. For the most interesting celebrity interviews, do subscribe to BollywoodHungama. Keep on watching.